Greetings everybody, welcome back. We're good to have you, and as promised last week, we're finalizing the tow rail repairs on the starboard side this week and installing a new cleat. The new cleat is going to be forward and on the starboard side. I've done a bit of painting and prep, and that'll be the last one for the starboard side. It will also be a permanent install, whereas the one that we set up to allow this work that we're doing now, that one's got to come off again when we start painting the deck. But at least the hard work is done. So now back to your regular scheduled fairing, sanding and priming. I can't tell you how good it feels to finally be starting to prime the port side. So we've been building up to this for a rather long time, but as you'll see, the deck isn't completely fair, and I think if I have to get it perfect showroom condition, I'll probably end up spending a great deal of money and very many liters of fairing compound, and probably still not really have it that good. So I'll probably do one more round of fairing on the port side, and I'll fix small areas, obvious indentations and depressions in the deck. But it's so much better than it was, and I can live with that. I can live with it because I know what it was like. As we make our way further aft on the port side towards midship, you can see this area that I'm painting right now is still got quite a bit of wavy lines on it. Obviously the tow rail side of it is pretty flat and straight because that was worked on, and the middle part of the deck up to the coach roof is still pretty wonky and wavy. What do you think? Should I invest a bit more time and effort? Leave a comment. Let me know if you think I should do a little bit more fairing and get this part of the deck sorted out. This is, I guess, the part of the deck we'll be on most of the time. So we'll be coming forward all the time. The spinnaker poles are there. We've got the Genoa. We've got the inner forestay here. So we've got a lot of up and downs. Maybe I should. Let me know. Leave a comment. Let me know what I should do about this area, if I should work a little harder on it. And since it's a really nice day, I've decided to cut a little bit of the very aft side on the port tow rail. This is the last little section going up to about midship, and once I'm done with this, and this is being faired, glassed, sanded, faired, this is the last part of it. Then I can actually start working on my plan for stanchions. There's actually a lot of work that's going to go into that, so I'll keep you guys informed soon. I'll do a test fit on the starboard side up front, and I'll show that to you in an upcoming video. So drilling has begun for the next cleat, and as you can see, I've painted and prepped the area. It should be dry now. I will drill the holes through and I'll fill them with thickened epoxy just like I did before, and I'll follow the same methodology. Then we can get this cleat installed tomorrow. Give the epoxy time to dry, maybe the next day, because the weather's looking pretty bad. I'll make the best use of it. So I'll measure this with every hole that I drill. I want this to be as accurate as possible. Again, I probably should have made a jig for this, but the reason I haven't is because I'm lazy. That's pretty much it. And it works. It'll be like 95% straight, and if I need to whack it in with a hammer later, no big deal. That's what hammers are for. So the measurement that absolutely does matter is this one. I need to make sure that this comes through in the correct spot. So I've set up another camera. My blurry one at the top has finally given up, so this will probably be the last footage you'll see from that camera. And below, I should just miss that bolt and come through in line with that bar. Obviously, you don't know this from the top, and I've measured it so many times, so if I get it wrong now, well, yeah, I get it wrong. And I got it dead on. So, pretty cool. Let's get on with the rest of them. However, despite my laziness, you'll check that I really do, after every hole, after every fitment, I mount the cleat and make sure that all the corresponding holes do in fact line up, and I make a new mark to make sure that I can go dead center through my already filled holes from the day before. This is really the only way I can assure that I get it as neat as possible. So, over the last year and a bit, these batteries have been living underneath the salon table, and what I'm doing now is running a recondition cycle on them and cleaning them up and making sure everything is good, and cleaning all the terminals up, and then I will rearrange it. The point is to have these batteries sort of in their own cabin, but I haven't made place for it yet, and we're not in a position where I can do that. So for now, just clean these terminals. You can see that one doesn't look too good, although it's the only one, mind you. The rest seem fine. Let's do this. It'll take a few days to get these done. In the meantime, I'll just crack on with it. And whilst I'm doing that, I'll explain. These are 405 amp hour deep cycle lead acid batteries. I've had most of them for about 3 years, 4 years. One of them was giving me trouble, so I did have to go through this whole thing. I'm now down to 3. I would love lithium, but yeah, that's another plan for another time. Alright, it's time to install this cleat. But first things first, get all these out. Oh dear. This one is so tight to fit that I actually have to unscrew it. Now I need to add some butyl tape to the surface. I'm going to give it one last wipe. Make sure there's no grease or rubbish on here. Then measure out the butyl, which will be more or less there. So I've given it a bit of space, as you can see, just along the top here. And the reason I've done that is so that when I squeeze it, and I can see a little bit of squeeze out, it fills the gap nicely. Next, I poke some holes. So how I did this last time was with the drill, so I'll do the same. I don't know how much butyl costs overseas, but it adds up to quite a bit down here. So every tiny little bit that we can save, we do so, including these little nubbins that I've just taken off. And now we'll do a test fit. Let's go outside and have a look and see how we can do that. I've obviously just painted, so it's probably all a bit of a mess. So I will put it through. I'll put 1 or 2 bolts initially just to line it up, make sure everything's good. I've already taken the covering off of the butyl at the bottom, so if I do press this down, it will stick. So I'm happy with the alignment, I'm happy with the fitting, and now I'm going to whack it in place and it'll be permanent. That last one that you see that isn't installed, I'll put in later, because that's the one that I literally have to screw into place. So that won't take me too long to do. And a hammer does a great job of breaking through those last little bits to get it in. Overall, it wasn't so bad. I didn't have to hit it very hard. I just needed to give them all a light whack to get them through. And it fits really, really, really well. So I'm super happy with this, and the process is just getting better and easier. So when I do the other side, all will be well. Then I wrap the heads of the flat screws with a little bit of butyl underneath, so when it squeezes down, it squeezes into that bevel that I drilled onto the plate and seals everything up nicely. So thank you so much this week for joining me, and next week we'll carry on with some more of this, but I'm thinking I'll mix it up with some new content. Thank you everyone, like, subscribe, do all of that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.